On today's episode of Watch Chair Go, you're looking for an affordable SUV for your family? I found it. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Chair Go, and today we are back with another VW product. I know you guys won't believe it. It is a bigger Jetta. And I borrowed this one from Eddy's Volkswagen here in Wichita, where they are selling the redesigned Volkswagen Taos for $21,999. So $22,000, not out the door. I know, price is going up a little bit. We've creeped out of our price range by $2,000. But again, only $2,000 more to go from a family car to a starter family SUV. I don't know. I think it could still be a good value, and I want you guys to let me know if you think it was a good value in the comments below. So far, it's just a big Jetta, but this is actually a trim level above what we were just driving in the Jetta. So the Jetta was a sport, right? The S is the base model, and they sell the base for $19,999. They're also making the same deal on the sport. Now the Taos, the S is the base model, and this is the SE Taos. So it's actually a step up, and $30,000 is the MSRP, and they were like, we're selling this one for $21,999. So that's crazy. It's a much bigger discount than we were seeing on that Jetta, and it's a much bigger car, and it's got quite a few new features that we didn't have on the Jetta, and I can't wait to show you guys all of those. We're gonna jump into the Taos in just a second, but I do wanna mention that, like I said, we stepped up a little bit, and once you step up in price even a little bit, we start to get back into a price range where a lot of cars actually exist. So below 20, you know, we pretty much found there's two, the Mirage and the Versa, and then at 20, we obviously found the Jetta, and then a hair above 20, we've got the Taos, but we also have options like the Kia Soul, which may be very controversial once I bring one of those in here, but I'm just going on a journey to find affordable cars and things that you might want to go buy today because you're having a baby and you want like a nice entry height so you can load in and out of the car seat easy, better door access to car seats, you know, just a step in height that's better for an older parent or grandparents that are looking for something nice to drive around. Crossovers really step into that role and fill it very well. You don't have to drop down and slide into the seat like you would in a small sedan. So honestly, the crossover segment is it's one of my favorite things in the world. I know people love to hate on crossovers, but you guys all remember I had my Cayenne and I loved it. Macan, I love it. Honestly, that's what I normally recommend. I feel like a used Porsche, you can never go wrong, and they seem like they're invincible. But this is brand new and you don't have to worry. The Porsche, you gotta worry a little bit because if something does go wrong, well, you might be spinning a Taos to fix the Porsche. So this is obviously it's two different things, right? You'd be looking at a 10-year-old Macan, very, very nice, or you could go pick up a brand new Taos that's totally under warranty and you don't have anything to worry about for 4 years and 50,000 miles on this, bumper to bumper, and 3 years of maintenance. Your mileage may vary on 3 years of scheduled maintenance, but it's 30,000 miles of scheduled maintenance that's included, which I think is right on the money, or maybe even a little more than the average American puts on their car in 3 years. Obviously, a lot of people blow past that, but 30,000 miles of included maintenance is pretty cool. And hey, if you do have any issues, this does include 3 years and 36,000 miles of roadside assistance as well. So they'll just come pick it up for you if something goes wrong. All right, let's go on a tour of the Taos. This is the first one I've ever been in, so I'm actually pretty excited to check this thing out. It does platform share with like 8 different Volkswagens, including the Jetta, so that's why a lot of things are very, very similar. And it doesn't include some of the Jetta options, like the 2-liter turbo. Apparently all Taos are the 1.5-liter turbo that we had in the Jetta and in this one. So this is finished in pyrite silver metallic, which does look very good. And check it out, it has keyless entry, comfort access, whatever you want to call it. So you can just push the button right there on the door handle to get in. I assume the inside of this, it just doesn't feel like a button. So I think the button out here is lock and unlock. So I've got the key in my pocket right now and it's unlocked. It's locked. there it unlocked. Okay, that's it. So the Pirate Silver Metallic does look very good. It is a very deep silver that looks nice. And of course, I didn't love the Sport logo on the Jetta, and on this, I really do love the Volkswagen logo right there in the pillar. That looks super nice. So it's subdued and it doesn't say Sport in giant letters on the side. It does say Taos down there on the side, and I think that looks pretty good. Now, since we're out here, we usually talk about the key, so let's do exactly that. We have a key that is not a flip key. You don't have to put it in the ignition, which is super cool. And we'll lock, remote start. So the Jetta did not have remote start, but it's lock and then hit twice to start it and one more time to shut it back off. Let's open the rear hatch, see if it's power. Do you have to hold it longer? Weird. Okay, well, you have to open the hatch yourself, which honestly, for the price point, that's not unexpected. I think we're all just so used to SUVs having a power liftgate hatch that we almost just expect it no matter what. Remote, very nice though. Panic button on the side, VW logo on the back, very small and compact. And again, like I said, you don't have to put the key in, which is very cool. So let's close this and continue our tour. So, on the mirrors, we have blind spot indicators, just like the Jetta there. Body color finished mirrors that honestly look pretty cool with this like divot right there. That's kind of interesting. We do not have turn signals in the mirrors, and again, I don't think they're power folding. They are not manual fold only on these mirrors, but they're big and they have great visibility, and obviously they are power and they work great. So coming around, we've got that Taos logo on the driver's side and passenger side fenders. These are wrapped in Pirelli Scorpions, and they're 215/50 18s. So big wheel, it looks really good. I like the wheel design. I like everything about it. And so far, even though I'm not the biggest Pirelli fan, the tires hold up pretty well. They're relatively quiet. It does handle well. It carries its weight very well, and obviously, anytime you're talking about handling, the tires play a huge role in that, so I'm not too upset with the Scorpions so far. I'd much rather have the Hankooks that were on the Jetta, but this is probably just fine until you get to that first tire change. So the front end of the Taos does look good, and it does have LED headlights, but they don't look as good as the Jetta headlights, even though it's kind of weird. They're the same headlight, but they don't look as good. And also the turn signal here is actually incandescent. The headlights do and are LED projectors. You can see the big old heat sinks and the light modules up above each segment there. So LED headlights, very, very nice for the price point. They do work, obviously, and I think it all looks very good. All this chrome helps tie it together. We don't have the light bar from the Jetta, which I also loved a lot. It's a super nice design piece where that light bar came down and across the entire grille and back up into the other headlight. It does, of course, have the safety suite, including adaptive cruise control right there, and rain sensing wipers. Again, all the toys that let these things punch way above their weight class. A little cover right there for your tow hook. But again, no parking sensors all the way around. It does depend on the cameras for all of its safety suite. And it doesn't have 360 cameras. You're not gonna see a camera hanging out under the mirror like you would on a lot of cars. But again, price point, we're not too worried about having 360 cameras. It can use the backup camera and its safety suite to alert you to vehicle coming from right, vehicle coming from left behind you. So honestly, for what it has in the sensor suite, it's incredibly good. So you might not have front and rear parking sensors, but the cameras are doing a lot of work, which, you know, who knows? Maybe the reality is we need to shift to a lot more hard sensors like ultrasonic, LiDAR, and the cameras, or maybe everyone goes the Tesla way eventually and they're just all cameras and there are no other sensors. So on this, it's using all of its cameras and they work really, really well. I think this is a pretty handsome little SUV. Tinted glass in the back from the factory there, that looks nice. These back windows are also gigantic. They must be 30 inches right there. It doesn't have the crazy fuel door that the Jetta had. Oh, look at that. It is a locking fuel door. You might actually have to unlock it up front, but let's see. Yep, I think you actually have to push a button to release that fuel door there. Pull up and preparing fuel tank. So the Jetta wasn't capless and neither is the Taos. And it will run on regular, again, that's always good to note. if you want to run cheap gas, this thing is okay with it, which on a lot of turbo cars isn't possible. So very nice that they designed these to run on 87. It can save you an insane amount of money at the pump. Coming around the back, we have a cool looking spoiler on the lift gate here, and third brake light hiding up inside that, rear wiper, roof rails in case you need to mount a bike or a storage system or something on this so you can road trip across the country with your family. LED tail lights, let's take a look at those real quick. We'll just go ahead and lock it. LED turn signals, nice. Well, all we get to see from the remote is the hazards. Big VW badge right here. I'm gonna assume, yep, there's the camera and LED tag lights again, and a little button to open the hatch right under the badge. Now it has these kind of fake looking exhaust ports right here in the bumper. It's just plastic that's recessed right under these reflectors. We have the tow hook cover right there, but the exhaust itself is hiding up underneath here. You can see the gigantic muffler right there and that turn down on the driver's side for the exhaust. So you're not gonna have any soot on the black bumper because they just made sure the exhaust didn't come out the bumper. One way to solve it. Also, that's the way everyone solves it now. Really, exhausts just don't come out the back anymore. They always turn it down so that you don't end up with soot buildup on the back of the car. The taillights are IQ light, and they look really good, honestly. That's a pretty sweet design there. All LED, obviously. And the ADAS system is also called IQ Drive. So a lot of IQ things, you know, you got ID Buzz with IQ connected or something like that. That is what they're calling basically all of their technology. Let's take a quick look inside the hatch to see what we're working with before we head into the cockpit itself. We have the same cargo mat here, the Volkswagen Cargo Protection System. This was optioned with the all-weather floor mats as well. Those look very nice. Clearly there's like a cargo cover that can go here and cover up whatever you're keeping in the back. 60/40 split folding rear seat with a pass-through. So how do you open the pass-through? Just like that. So you've got your ski pass-through right there, or maybe 2x4s if you're doing some work. Honestly, a pretty standard setup in the back of this compact SUV. Does this hook, nope, that hook is fixed. What's right here? Let's find out what's underneath door number 1. Oh, this is the emergency release for the fuel door hiding out inside there, I'm sure. The fuel door is right about there, so you probably reach up inside there if you need to release that thing and the electronic locks aren't working. And now for the $1,000,000 question, do we have a spare? And we do, look at that. Jack handle, spare. Honestly, it's a pretty solid setup. VW also put some hardcore tie-down points in the back of the Taos, and of course, if you need to flip the seats down, just, you know, squeeze and throw them forward, and the cargo area is lighted as well. So plenty of features in the back, and honestly, with those tie-down points, you could probably put an engine back here and tie it down. Look, I don't know why you would do that, but you could, and that's what's important. Let's take a quick look at the back seats because obviously they do matter in crossovers. This is where you got to get in with your car seats, so you can see it has extremely long rear doors. So we'll start at the door panel here just to take a quick look and see what we've got. Hard plastic, not rubberized, hard plastic. Rubberized, it's not as soft as the Jetta, but a nice vinyl here on the armrest, a little storage pocket right there in the pull pocket, and full auto up and down windows again. Very cool though, black, a bluish gray, and then a bluish silver with some silver for the door handles there. These are just painted plastic. They're not the chrome wrapped plastic like we saw in the Jetta. So quite a few differences for being roughly the same car, right? 6-speaker audio system, which is interesting. So, okay, yeah, that makes sense. We got tweeters in the pillars up front, and then like a mid bass down on the front doors, and in the back we just have a speaker on each side. So no tweeters, no 3-way or anything like that. But it honestly, it does pretty well. It sounds good. I gotta give them some credit. There's not a lot of low-end extension in the audio system, but it works. So again, like I said, 60/40 folding bench seat here, headrest for the middle. Let's flip this back up, take a look at the center where we have the same armrest with a little storage, 2 cup holders, and that is most of the back seat. I really do like this design with the vinyl. It's not all cloth. So it's got this vinyl and then this textile material here, like a hybrid with some blue and silver in it. Those look very nice. And then this is really interesting. I think this is what they're calling comfort text. So maybe it's like a breathable leather feeling vinyl or something like that. But it's nice, and you don't really slide around in these seats. So you gotta give them a bunch of credit. They're very deep footwells, so you can sit in a very upright seating position. This would have been a lot better to road trip across the country in when we took that Acura from Seattle to Boston a few weeks back. This is very comfortable, tons of headroom. What do you got? 6, 7, 8 inches above my head there, so quite a bit of room to the ceiling. And again, incandescent. Yeah, incandescent lights in the interior. That's super interesting with all of the exterior lights being LED. Now, the exterior lights are probably quite a bit more important, right? You don't want your headlights burning out or your taillights burning out, but it's interesting that they didn't put LEDs in the interior lights. The incandescents are warm though, and everybody loves that warm, natural looking light. Now the Taos does have rear vents, which the Jetta absolutely did not. You can open and close them right there. And the vents are full manual, but you can point them wherever you want. So no crazy touchscreen to move the vents or anything like that. It's just a normal working system for the HVAC that you can depend on. A lighted USB-C port for the rear passengers, again, more than the Jetta had, and a little pocket right there. I don't know what you'd do with that pocket. You might be able to put half of a business card in there. It doesn't have a lot of use. You do have pockets on both backs of the seats right there. So map pockets, whatever you need to store in the back of the seat on a road trip, that is the back seat. There are hanger hooks under the grab handles there, and those little rear quarter windows look very cool as well. So that's the entire back seat, and a reasonable water bottle is gonna fit in the door pockets there. It seems like it might be tough to maneuver. You might have to angle this way, because it kind of hits the actual armrest when you're coming out, but it's a pretty big pocket. You got enough room for a water bottle of pop, food, whatever it is. If you're 5 deep in this thing, you're gonna need all the space. Before we head inside the Taos, let's take a quick look under the hood. Again, I wanna know, oh yeah, that hood's heavy, just like that Jetta hood. Incredibly heavy, but the hood's shorter on the Taos, so the hood prop doesn't bend as much. So here's neutral. Just a tiny little bend. On the Jetta, you could really see the amount of force that thing was applying. This, actually, the engine sits lower in the engine bay. I mean, it's just the same car with a taller car around it. So that's what we're dealing with here. Obviously, we have the turbocharged 1.5 liter 4-cylinder water to air intercooler hiding underneath the intake right there, which is very nice. Having this be factory intercooled, that big old alternator, because again, auto start stop. Everything works just the way you would expect. And one of the coolest things here, it also has the electronic wastegate that the Jetta had. So I like this package. It's probably really good. It is direct injected. It cranks out 158 horsepower and 184 foot-pounds of torque. It's obviously front wheel drive. Transmission starts right here, and it has the 8-speed crammed in that little bitty area, and it delivers the power well, I think. It just does everything very well. And for the price point, right, it's a ton of power, gobs of power, great driving, and it's just always in the right gear. It's not jumping around. There's no real torque steer. It's pretty good at everything. Electric power steering hiding under here as well to mitigate that torque steer, and just a nice little package. So that's really all there is to see under the hood. You won't need to even open the hood for a long time because 30,000 miles of maintenance is included. Now let's head inside the Taos, and I do want to warn you guys before we get in here, this isn't the Jetta. I know, platform shared, drivetrain shared, but it's not as nice. It's not finished as well, and they didn't give you as much of the premium materials. And weirdly, this is the weirdest thing of all. I sat in both of them and rocked out for a minute with their systems. This one's head unit seems like it's slightly worse. It doesn't have a home button, which drives me nuts. There's nowhere to like rest, right? The home is there, so we have something to clear our mind and get the radio or the phone off the screen. Now CarPlay fixes that, and it does have wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, all the things you'd expect, because the Jetta had them, but it doesn't have a home button. And it just kind of drives me nuts. But that might be because the Jetta had built-in navigation and the Taos does not have built-in navigation. So kind of interesting, right? I mean, it's clearly the same hardware, but things are different. That's pretty much how we sum up this entire interior. Let's jump in here. So very Jetta-like on the door panel. We have that same angle across the door panel to the cool lock LED that I love from Volkswagen again, but things are different. This is soft touch, unlike the rear one. And then we do have nice vinyl, and then of course vinyl down here on the armrest again. In the Jetta, this vinyl was softer again. The window switches and mirror controls are the same as the Jetta. So auto up and down, all 4 windows, very, very cool in the price point and not really seen from any other manufacturers. It also has this blue silvery plastic, nice lock buttons that are in the right spot. Again, ergonomics are just well done. VW is killing the ergonomics here. And of course, we do not have the chrome or metal wrapped handle. It's the plastic painted handle. Again, just like I showed you in the back doors. Obviously, the door pocket itself is gigantic, and the details on the door are not quite as cool. If you remember that Jetta Sport, it has a lot of detail in the speaker grill that like runs all the way through here and continues the pattern. This one's like, hey, we got a speaker and it's a door panel. What more do you want? Reflector down here so nobody knocks your door off if it's open while you're getting out on the side of the road or something like that. Obviously the fuel door release right there. Now the Taos does have metal door sills that still have all the plastic on them. So this thing is still in delivery form. And another thing the Taos has is power seats. Look at that. So you actually have what appears to be a 6-way power seat. Yeah, we got up, down, forward, back, back tilt, and some lumbar right there. So these seats are considerably nicer. It's kind of crazy the differences between these cars. Like the Taos has a bunch of stuff that the Jetta does not, but at the same time, the Jetta put it all together in a much better looking package, mostly because of the climate control. Time for a quick run through. I'm gonna go fast, so bear with me. We've got auto headlights down here by the driver door. The way they light up is very cool. It tells you in the switch by changing the colors of the icons right there what is active. Obviously the same center screen as the Jetta here, where only this part is the screen, and on camera you can see that very well. In real life you can't see that very well. It looks like one gigantic screen for the center cluster. So super well done. I love everything about this, honestly. It works great. I didn't mention another thing that I love about the Jetta and the Taos is the way they design these stocks. Take a look at this. When your hand is where it belongs, while you're driving, you can perfectly grab both stocks. So they have these big lips on them so your hand lands at the right place and doesn't slip off. So if you need to apply force this way, you've got the force for the high beam flash, and if you're moving up and down for turn signals or wipers, your hands are just always right where they need to be. You don't have to think about it. Over here on the end of the headlight stock or turn signal stock, we have the ADAS button that enables the entire suite. Push forward for high beams, pull back for flash, and of course it's the turn signals as well. The other stock back here for the wipers, it has rain sensing wipers just like the Jetta. Very, very cool for the price point. I love to see that, and the stock works exactly the way you would expect. The rear wipers are on this one though, so very cool. Lots of functionality hiding right there. Same steering wheel, semi-flat bottom. Very, very nice. I love the stitching. It's not a basic stitch. They gave you like a little 3D stitch that looks very nice with some leather. And what this got over the Jetta is, look at that, a heated steering wheel. A quick look at what might be my favorite steering wheel control layout of all time right now, other than, I don't know, the Huracan's pretty good too, but it's VW. VW's good at steering wheels. What's going on? Why can't anyone else do this? The volume control is on the correct side with the cruise control, and of course we've got the cruise on, and then you can switch between adaptive cruise and lane keeping right there. Resume, speed down, speed up, and set your follow distance right there. It has 5 follow distances, which is very adjustable. Mostly everyone else has 3. And of course a set button for the cruise right there. Media controls and the heated steering wheel, and cluster controls right here. So Siri or voice assistant, up and down to configure all the screens in the cluster. And this lets you pick what side of the screen you're configuring. And this lets you change the entire cluster view. Let's go ahead and start it up and take a quick look at the cluster views. Take a look at that. I didn't have to put the key in. Welcome to Volkswagen. This does have the downside of the Jetta, and it's the power button turns with the volume knob. So here in the cluster that works very well, we're in TAC mode with the speedometer in the middle. Like I showed you, you can configure every single part of this. You can change what's displayed here, what's displayed here. In fact, we can just hit the up arrow and it'll jump into the menu and say we want to put the gear in the middle instead of over there where it says park. We can do that. So you can really configure every single part of these clusters, and they work very, very well. So skeuomorphic tack. You can also jump through the views, have the modern view that I'm a big fan of. You can put your navigation, well, not in this car, you can't put your navigation, but you can put what CarPlay is playing over here, or speed, or really anything you want in that display. And of course, you also have old school speedometer, and it does show the cruise as a little arrow, just like BMW would, or maybe some Volkswagens. So very solid cluster. You've got your coolant temp over there, fuel right there, and that is about it. So these, like I said, not screens over here, but the dummy lights are hiding back in there. So the steering wheel works very, very well. It is tilt telescope, but it is manual. The gray vinyl in the door panels looks nice because it extends all the way across the dash, even over here to the driver's side, and it contrasts well with the black and blue. All of that looks very nice together, but the Jetta coming off of the screen over to the vent looked way better. It looked futuristic and modern because it had those nice lines that followed all the way down into the vent. It was just a really, really good look. So that is the cluster, steering wheel, and the dash. Let's head on down. Same exact vents we saw in the Jetta with the passenger airbag light right there and the hazards, but underneath that, unfortunately, the climate isn't nearly as cool. Now, I'm sure this is optional, but the climate control in the Jetta was much nicer because it had no knobs. They were all touchscreen sliders that worked incredibly well. It does have heated cloth seats again, or heated Comfort Tech seats in this one. And of course, just a click, we can be in full auto at 72 degrees. Heard the air conditioner click on there. And having the sync button there is nice. The digital one did not have the sync button right there. So we'll go ahead and shut that back off so we don't have to listen to it. You can, of course, control the fan with that knob if you want and move the climate up. Look at that, it even shows you which vents it's coming out of. So let's hit floor. Oh, yep, shows it's on the floor. Defrost. Very cool. Underneath the climate control, we've got two lighted USB ports again, a big pocket that will hold any modern smartphone. Oh, look at that, it's got Qi charging. All right, go VW. Let's throw my phone on there and see if it starts charging. I didn't even notice that until now. And maybe it's got a Qi logo down there. I can't tell if it's charging or not. It's not. Well, look, it says it has wireless charging. I would expect it to be charging right now, but it's not popping up with the little charging icon. It clearly says that it's got like the phone logo and a Qi logo right there. So, well, my phone didn't pop up, but it definitely has the wireless charging mat. I don't know if the actual charger is installed, so that's kind of interesting. Don't know what's going on there, but again, interesting. 12-volt outlet right there with a little flip cover. Now, this does not have an eco button, which is interesting, even though it has the same shifter. The bezel is different. We do have the electronic parking brake, and we do have auto start stop. And the easy thing to do, I've figured out, is just put it in sport. So it's in drive right now, and you can see it says drive on the dash. And if we push down one more time, it's now in Sport 1. And if it's in Sport, Auto Start Stop disables automatically. If you don't want Auto Start Stop, the easy thing to do is just hit drive and then bump it one more time, and you're good to go every time you get in. Now, coming on down the console, the cup holders are a bigger design with the springs, unlike the Jetta. So you can put bigger cups in there. This is a normal size cup, you know, but you can put pretty big cups, bigger than this one, that's for sure, down in these cup holders. In the Jetta, beside the cup holders, it had what looked to be a phone holder, but in here it's more of a change holder. It's a little shallower, and it looks like it's the same length. Center console, it seems like it's actually much smaller. It's deep, but it's much, much smaller, and there's a tiny bit of extension, about a 3/4 inch extension down under the front of that. The armrest doesn't do anything crazy like the Jetta did with the feet that flipped up, so you could set a higher position. It's just a standard armrest. It is vinyl with some nice stitching. And let's check out the glove box. Yeah, I mean, it's very nice. It's quiet, well balanced, opens pretty softly. It's what we expect for a glove box. Take a look at the sun visors. In the Jetta, they weren't lighted. In the Taos, they're lighted. Everything is different. So they do slide. All right, about the same upper console with door open switch for the lights, map light buttons, and you can turn on and off the rear light as well. the new HomeLink Connect mirror, which I like very much. I'm sure you guys noticed. I posted the actual part that this is. It's $360 for this mirror. I think it's a standard Gentex design that everyone's moving to, but it's so nice in this price range. You've got the HomeLink buttons and of course the Bluetooth HomeLink Connect button. Now there's an app you can use to set up your garage doors to your mirror, which, you know, if you've had trouble with HomeLink in the past, this might be a big upgrade for you. The Taos also has a sunglasses holder in the upper console, very nice. Some rubber down there to keep them from getting scratched up, and the Volkswagen connectivity suite right there with SOS, maintenance or service, and information there. You can set the shoulder height for the seat belts as well. They slide up and down, and I think that's basically the entire interior except for all this storage on top of the dash. Nice pocket right there. And what looks like it might be a center channel for the system, but it's not, because it does specify that it's a 6-speaker system. So maybe if you spec your Taos a little bit higher, they give you a speaker right there. Now let's take a quick look at the infotainment. Obviously, like I said, there's no home button, but you can see the climate. Very cool. You can see the radio right there. Turn that all the way down. It does have HD radio. It also has XM and Bluetooth if you're not using CarPlay, and internet radio, which is very interesting. I think this has gesture control. I saw it move when my hand came up there. So this is letting me switch sources altogether, I think. But if you see that little hand icon, every time I move my hand up, like something happens, like the preset button gets bigger. So that's also very interesting. If it does have gesture control, I love it. Gesture control is just, it's kind of a cool thing. See, my hand popped up and it highlighted all the bottom buttons. Phone will show you the connection to my phone. Voice, what's that do? Oh, cool, VW's built-in voice assistant. So that's pretty sweet. And let's go to app, and you can see CarPlay right there. It works just the way you'd expect, very nice. Pull down for profiles, right? You probably can't pull down when you're in CarPlay. There we go. No profiles. There are a lot of differences in the infotainment if you don't get the built-in navigation, so that's pretty wild. I wasn't expecting that. Sound lets you jump into the EQ and what's honestly a pretty cool position setup. This is not an optimal listening position setting. What it really is a fader with touchscreen control. So if you do this, it just turns on the driver speaker. And if you do this, it's just the front passenger speaker. So it's not an optimized listening position or anything like that with all the other speakers still working. It's literally just a fader. So nothing crazy there. Speed sensitive volume, voice guidance, voice operation, maximum startup volume. That's always a nice one. And a 3-band equalizer. Car settings right there. There's not too much in here. Door, lid, trunk open, tire pressure monitoring, and vehicle status. If I close the door, it'll just say check. And then if we go to selection, we can see our mileage and average speed and all that good stuff. In the menu right here, we've got the same menu we had in the Jetta, assistance settings. So you can change all the ADAS settings once you jump in there, adaptive cruise control. Oh, wow. You can have sporty adaptive cruise control. I've never seen that before. Wow. Very cool. So sport might make it a shorter follow distance. Let's try and see what that says. It doesn't really tell us what it's gonna do, but that's pretty cool. And then your front assistance function detects critical distance situations and warns the driver, so that's cool. And then lane keeping, blind spot monitor, everything's on. Honestly, it all works great. So that is the menu. Really the only menu you need to look at here. Everything else is the same. CarNet, so you can have your internet radio and everything like that once you set that up. There you go. That is a complete tour of the 2024 Volkswagen Taos SE, and I like this thing. So let's get it out on the road and see how it drives and see if I still like it. All right, driving the 2024 VW Taos. Now I haven't spent too much time with this yet, but after just a handful of minutes, I could tell that it's just a bigger Jetta. It drives the same, it shifts the same, the power comes on roughly the same, and obviously, like we talked about with the specs, same engine, same transmission, basically everything is the same. But this thing's much bigger, so there's a lot of differences there. They both have electric power steering. You know, most of the drivetrain is exactly matched. And it's funny, for being so much taller, it really doesn't have much more body roll than the Jetta did. So again, very competent, very German feeling, shift snap off. Sport makes it kind of fun. It makes too much power. I mean, the price point just blows my mind. I know we stepped up a couple $1,000s, but now you're getting a small family SUV with the same amount of power, and it's really great. I wouldn't say it's too much power. I'm just saying they're giving you so much power for the price point, and I'm in love with that. Full throttle. Again with the wheel spin, this platform is too good. Wow. I will say it pulled less throttle. It's kind of funny, even though traction was flashing and there probably was a little bit of wheel spin, just some scrubbing right there, not nearly as aggressive as the Jetta. I think that's just due to having more weight over those front tires and that keeping it from spinning. I think it seemed, I'm sure it wasn't, but it seemed quicker than the Jetta. Just because when the Jetta jumped into traction, it was spun a lot, so it pulled a lot of throttle. And this thing just barely pulled throttle, and it felt great, especially for, you know, the price, the size, the packaging. I don't know. Here's something I didn't mention in the last video that I wish I would have. This car handles disengagement so well. It's driving. I'm not doing a thing here. And now it says take over steering right. And then it doesn't just shut off and slam you into a wall, or, you know, you fall asleep, something happens. Watch closely. If you can see there, it just bumped the brakes. Okay, now emergency assist, take over steering. And there. So honestly, incredible. Turned on the hazards, started hitting the brakes again, and it was gonna bring the car to a stop in the lane. That is how you handle disengagements. You have to do something. You can't just let go of the wheel. You can't pull a Jesus take the wheel like the Jag F-Pace we just drove, or that new Acura TLX Type S. That is, it shouldn't be allowed. I don't know how those cars were ever released. If the vehicle will steer for you in cruise control, you can't just stop steering the vehicle and be like, good luck. That's what a lot of cars are doing, and I'm super happy the VW's ADAS is handling that well. It might take a little bit of time to find the lane lines, and it might give up on the lane lines sometimes, but at least it doesn't just stop steering the car and not tell you. The driving experience is very chill, exactly what you'd expect when it's not in sport mode, right? I mean, nice linear power delivery, leaving stoplights and all of that. And it's a little bit snappier when it's in sport. I mean, it feels like it's just remapping the throttle, but the shifts also feel like they're turned up just a hair there. So maybe they turned up the shift pressures when you go into sport. And so far, like I said, I think it's very competent. Now the Jetta, we did things that I would never expect a car in that price point to be able to do, especially on two on-ramps. We've got a little back-to-back figure eight, and I'm gonna go do those with this as well, just so we can kind of feel it out. I wanna know how predictable the front end is, how predictable the tires are. Obviously, like, I want to know these things. Anybody shopping for a starter family SUV does not need to know these things. It's plenty quick. It will merge into traffic with zero issues. I think it's really, really solid. And from now on, when people are like, what should I buy for my kid? I think I'm recommending these two VWs, but there's plenty more options out there in the segment. And since we're doing this affordable car tour, we're gonna check out a few more affordable cars. Now, let's go do the things that you don't do with your small family SUV and hit these two on-ramps just to feel out all the suspension, because you learn a lot very fast. So we just passed our sign that says entering Mexico, and we're coming in a little warm. Ooh, the back end likes to rotate a lot more than the Jetta. It does have some weight in it. Whew. I would say that was tidy, of course. You didn't hear any tires sliding through the corner or anything like that. But at the same time, in the Jetta, we did that much quicker. We probably did it 7 miles an hour faster in the Jetta, which is, there's something to be said about that. And turning in hard, adding power. Whoa! We got the front end compressed there. Throttle's all the way in. Look, it's predictable. It likes to wallow like a little bit there. You can feel the back end trying to kind of not stay on the same track the front end's in. And obviously, as we got into that increasing radius incline on that ramp right there, which is always a very fun ramp to hit, you could feel the front end kind of almost completely compressed, and as I was squeezing the throttle in the whole time, it wasn't adding throttle until the wheel was straight. So traction on this is honestly incredible, things that we didn't have growing up, like computers that are pulling power when you have steer angle in and then start adding it back in as you straighten the wheel out. So if you want it to be a race car, it's just not gonna do that for you most of the time because the traction and stability control systems are so good. So to sum it up, the Jetta and the Taos are pretty much gonna keep you from getting into situations where you could get in trouble. They're very good at that. And at the same time, if you're just coming in like really hot and then you add a bunch of steer angle, they're both like super competent. It would be fun to do a track day in each of these and just see how everything shakes out when you're really trying to drive the cars. Well, there you go. That is a tour of the 2024 Taos, and driving it, honestly, it feels like a big Jetta. So it's not a lot different than what we just went over, and it all works great. For $21,999, I think it's a lot of car, and maybe the perfect car if you're having your first kid, just starting your family or something like that, and you want something slightly bigger than a sedan, and it's a pretty solid entry to the crossover market. So that is it for today, guys. A huge shout out to Eddy's Volkswagen for letting me borrow the brand new Taos. There's one more car I need to drive in the lineup too. I know it's a lot of VWs, so we'll wait a little bit, but they have an ID Buzz, and I know you guys all want to see the ID Buzz. I know I do. That thing looks incredible. The new version of the Volkswagen Bus. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjrgo.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. Yeah, that's the Volkswagen.
Volkswagen.
What do you think?
Sure beats a bug.
Yeah. I think everybody likes the new Beetle, though, even though they're gone, right? You haven't seen it. When's the last time you saw a new Beetle on the road? No one has them anymore.
Yeah.
They just all vanished. I think all the engines blew up. But that's just a thing that happened with the new Beetle.
Good looking little car.
Yeah, for $22,000. It's a whole lot of car for $22,000.
What about we sell a bunch of them?
Oh, look at that. The passenger seat is manual, but the driver's seat's fully powered on this thing. So it's a lot of features for the price point. It's a Taos.
Taos.
Now, this thing is sold as like 8 other models across the world.
Yeah.
And it's also the Jetta here in the US, but pretty interesting. I have no idea. I would assume it's limited to like 120 or something like that. I haven't tried.
Does it have a motor?
Yeah. This is a turbo 1.5, but it is electrified in other parts of the world.
That was a joke.
Okay, I didn't know if you were just asking if it was electric.
It's an old Volkswagen commercial.
Oh, okay. Well, of course, I wrapped up shooting on the Taos, went inside, jumped on Twitter, and a few other journalist friends that work for Motor Trend and stuff like that were at the 2025 Taos launch event. And I saw pictures of it. This thing is redesigned for 2025, and it has the DRLs running through the grille. It looks incredible. It looks just like the Jetta, and I'm sure it also has that new digital climate control that's also much nicer than this one. So everything that I mentioned, they've probably fixed it all already. So if you're buying one of these in, the next month, I bet you get a 25 instead of a 24. And I bet it's even nicer than this. So it can only go up from here.